Bad Batch Episode 5 The Return. With the team reunited and trying to get back to their normal way of life on Pabu, things are still far from perfect between Crosshair and the rest of the batch, especially Hunter, as despite their tentative tolerance of his presence and Omega's encouragement, Crosshair still struggles with the repercussions of his betrayal and captivity. And to make matters worse, we also get further clarification that the experiments on Tantiss have taken their toll on his sharpshooting abilities, the one good thing he was known for and excelled at. We already got a tease of this in the last few episodes, but this episode really cements things of AZ telling Crosshair that his targeting accuracy for that day was only 53%, which is well below his average. Unfortunately, this now makes Crosshair the weakest member on the team, putting his accuracy on the same level, if not maybe worse, than a regular clone. Also, I gotta say, with the batch just chilling again on Pabu, I think it might be safe to say that this has now become their home base of operation. Which makes me wonder if it will only be a matter of time that their presence there attracts, I don't know, the Empire and turns this tropical paradise into a tropical nightmare. Maybe or maybe not, but just calling it out now that if it does happen, we shouldn't be surprised in the slightest. Echo soon returns to Pabu, and together the batch discusses Mount Tantiss and the experiments conducted on the clones there. To get more details from Nala Se's datapad, they reluctantly follow Crosshair's suggestion to connect it to an Imperial computer terminal at his former post on Barton 4. Initially, Hunter decides to have him, Crosshair, and Echo go, while Omega and Wrecker stay behind on Pabu. But he's quickly met with resistance from Omega, who, of course, wants to go on the mission. Despite the fair concern Hunter has, as they only just got Omega back and all, so naturally taking her to an Imperial base so soon is risky business. And well, I was pretty disappointed that Hunter, the leader of the batch, was once again overruled by a child, as she ends up changing his mind and going along anyway. So yeah, at times it feels like Omega is this spoiled kid with her 5 dads always caving in on her every demand. Can't say I like it, and it's gotten pretty old by now. Once arriving to Barton 4, to Crosshair's surprise, they luckily find the depot having been abandoned, which in theory makes their job so much easier. They then are forced to divert power from its defense perimeter in order to have enough power to read the contents of the datapad. And during this time, we continue to see Hunter's general distrust of Crosshair, spying on him at every opportunity, like seeing Crosshair find the abandoned clone trooper helmets, including that of Mayday's, and he takes a moment to pick them up and put them on display in a silent memorial of his dead brothers. It's a short but small emotional scene, and it's a nice callback to Season 2, Episode 12, The Outpost, which still remains my absolute favorite episode from that season, and maybe actually even in the whole series in general. It's just that good. Anyway, we soon learn that there is a consequence for the batch diverting power away from the defense perimeter, which the whole time was emitting a high frequency, as now without it, this invites ice, snow, space worm, whatever you want to call it, to attack the depot, thus giving this season's second giant monster attack. Now, we've seen plenty of sand surfing creatures before, like the Great Dragon on Tatooine and the Mandalorian, plus plenty of others in other media such as in Dune, but a snow equivalent of such a beast? Yeah, you don't see that quite as often, so okay, if we're gonna get a monster like this, might as well make it stand out somewhat. And this attack sees Hunter and Crosshair forced to set aside their differences in order to survive against it while out in the open. Meanwhile, the batch works together to lure the creature outside the perimeter before activating an auxiliary power source, thus reactivating the defense perimeter. With Crosshair having earned his squad mates' trust back after risking his life to save hunters, and with the information that they recovered from the datapad, the batch call it a day and depart on Echo's starship. Overall, I thought this episode was okay. It's pretty much an entire episode designed and centered around Hunter's reservations about Crosshair's sudden change of heart, and showing how they eventually patch things up between one another, which is fair as this was something that had to be explored after their reunion. Otherwise, fans like myself would be criticizing the show for the batch taking back Crosshair all willy-nilly and acting like nothing had happened, which would be impossible to do considering he spent the last 2 seasons hunting them alongside the space Nazis. So yeah, this was pretty much required. Fortunately, at the end, we do witness that Crosshair does experience serious remorse for his decision to join the Empire, vocally regretting the things he's done in Imperial service. But having made mistakes of his own, Hunter is ultimately sympathetic, telling Crosshair that what truly matters is that they keep trying to be better. And cool. But outside of that, and getting to see Barton 4 for one last time, the rest of the episode felt kind of meh. The snow worm was pretty much just a plot device to get Hunter and Crosshair to mend things between one another, as I never once felt that anyone was in any serious danger of dying the whole time. And well, the intel that they ended up getting from the datapad was, for the most part, worthless. I mean, right, they know that there is a base that is now undergoing experiments on clones, but other than that, big whoop. Without coordinates, that means very little, so it doesn't progress the plot at all. But with this episode now done, I think next week we can really start moving things forward and get something more substantial, and hopefully an episode that is better than just okay. And that was my take on this episode of The Bad Batch. Let me know what you all thought about the episode in the comments below, and if you haven't already, remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more, and I'll see you on the next one.